You know, so many medical practices still treat their website like it's just a digital brochure, something that's nice to have but maybe not totally essential. Well, today, we're going to dig into why that way of thinking is a huge mistake.
So let me ask you straight up. Is that how you see your practice's website? Just a simple online ad? Something that plays second fiddle to your social media or patient referrals? It's a really common way to look at it, but it completely misses the boat on what a website's real job is in healthcare today. Because here's the bottom line, the main idea of this entire explainer. For a healthcare practice, your website is not marketing. It is pure infrastructure. It's the digital foundation that holds up everything else. Your compliance, your patient trust, and yeah, even the future of AI in your practice. To really get this, we first have to talk about the massive difference between the digital places your practice lives online. And it all boils down to one simple idea: renting versus owning. Think about it like this. Social media platforms, that's rented space. You're like a tenant in a giant apartment building. You don't control the rules, you don't control the algorithm, and you definitely don't control if they decide to shut down your account tomorrow. But your website, that's your own private property. You own it. You have total control over how it's built, how secure it is, and what happens to it. And that right there is the key. For any medical practice, in an industry where trust and consistency are absolutely everything, owning your digital space gives you a level of stability that you just cannot get from a rented platform, period. And what I love about this chart is how clearly it just lays it all out. Look at this. Ownership, rented versus owned. Data control. You have very little on social, but full control on your site. And this is a big one, HIPAA compliance. Social media is just not built for it. A website, though, it can be. And the same goes for things like deep AI integration and long-term stability. Social media is great for getting the word out, but your website is what makes you legitimate. Okay, so let's move on and see how this all connects to two things that are completely non-negotiable for any practice: compliance and trust. These are things you just can't afford to outsource to some other platform. I mean, you gotta love how direct this is. You simply cannot manage the massive responsibility of healthcare compliance from a social media profile. The rules and regulations, like HIPAA, they were made for private, controlled environments, not for a public newsfeed. And here's why this matters so much. HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, it legally requires you to protect patient health information. And as the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services constantly reminds us, that means you need secure, encrypted, and private systems for things like intake forms and patient portals. A social media DM just isn't going to cut it. So you've got compliance, but then there's the other pillar, trust. And this quote just nails the shift in thinking we need. The main job of your digital infrastructure isn't to sell something, it's to reassure our potential patient that they are in a safe, professional, and credible place. And, research from the Journal of Medical Internet Research actually shows that this reassurance comes from structural things. Think of these as the pillars of your digital clinic. We're talking about clearly displayed credentials, secure ways to contact you, and transparent policies. These aren't flashy promotional posts. They are fundamental parts of the architecture that build real, lasting credibility.
All right, let's look ahead for a minute. Because having this solid foundation isn't just about what you need today, it's about getting you ready for the next massive wave in technology. And I'm talking, of course, about artificial intelligence.
Trying to adopt AI tools without having a proper foundation, or what our source material calls automation without architecture, is just asking for trouble. You could be exposing patient data on platforms that aren't HIPAA compliant. You could be alienating patients with clunky chatbots, and you could be creating a total mess of different systems that don't talk to each other.
When you just try to slap AI tools onto all your different social media channels, this is what you get. Total chaos. Your scheduling tool is over here, your patient chats are over there, and absolutely nothing is connected. That's not efficiency, it's just digital fragmentation. But when you bring those same powerful AI tools and integrate them into your website, your owned, controlled ecosystem, you get the exact opposite. You create a powerful, unified infrastructure. Your AI scheduler can now talk to your patient portal, which can connect to your billing reminders. Everything works together seamlessly inside one secure, professional system.
And look, this isn't just a hunch. Research from the MIT Sloan Management Review confirms it. The real wins from AI don't come from using a bunch of disconnected gadgets. They come from weaving AI right into the fabric of your structured digital operations. So, what does this all actually look like in the real world? Let's pull everything together into a new digital blueprint for a modern, forward-thinking medical practice.
Here's the balanced strategy, and it's pretty straightforward. It's not about choosing one tool over another. It's about using each one for what it does best. Use AI for all that back-end efficiency. Use your amazing staff for empathy and that human connection. Use your website for structure, compliance, and trust. And yeah, go ahead and use social media for what it's great at, outreach and building a community.
And this all brings us to what might be the most powerful way to think about this. Stop thinking of your website as an ad. Start seeing it as your digital clinic. For so many of your patients, it is the front door. It has to be built and maintained with the exact same level of care, security, and professionalism as your physical office.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last thing to think about. Take a good, hard look at your online presence and ask yourself, have you built a temporary billboard or have you constructed a permanent, secure, and trustworthy digital clinic? Because honestly, the answer to that question is going to define the future of your practice.